What is up, Rubber Duckies fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Duck Pond. I am Peter Capone. Alongside with me today, we have very special guest. The man, the myth, the legend himself, the founder, the president, the CEO, the director of player operations, the general manager, the disgraced former captain of the Rubber Duckies. Absolute legend, the 3-goal scorer, the overtime hero. How's it being finally get on fire?
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a rough while trying to get me on. I know you left out a couple things off of that intro, but you know, I think you got the basics down for sure.
What else did you want?
I mean, what else is to be? I mean, player, you know.
Anyway, moving on.
No.
Before we get going here, we are talking a lot about international hockey today with the Four Nations Faceoffs right around the corner. Before we get going, we do love all you listeners here in the U.S., but I feel like we should get a shout out to our buddies out in Germany, Ukraine, Japan, France, Australia, and the U.K. listening to us too. So it's nice that we can see that the Duckies finally have a global reach. I mean, every continent with the exception of Africa at the moment. Once we get couple listens there, we're going to be global, baby.
Soon enough. Sucks that we won't be talking about any of those countries, today with the Four Nations, but there's always next year.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. So getting on with it with the Four Nations Face-Off, starting tomorrow, we have Canada, U.S., Finland, and Sweden all facing off in Montreal and Boston, a best-on-best tournament, as Gary Bettman put it. Just what are your broad expectations? We'll get into the teams in a little bit, but what are your broad expectations for these next 2 weeks of hockey?
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun little time. I know there's also some competitiveness. I'm excited to see JT Miller, Elias Pettersson go head to head. That's gonna be a big one that some people have been talking about. See how much of that feud's really going on, and will they be targeting each other, or are they just gonna be playing the game? I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that going around. Rivals playing together, guys on the same team going up against each other. I mean, we just look at the Canadian roster just for a second. Again, we'll get into the rosters in a little bit. Sam Montembeault for the Montreal goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, and Brad Marchand, obviously captain of Seamus's Boston Bruins, playing both on the Team Canada roster. Granted, we'll get into that point in a second, but we're seeing a lot of that, and we got families bringing back together with the Chuck brothers on the U.S. roster, and a couple of Sabres out there too. Looks like Henry Jokiharju, I believe, finally made the Finnish roster. If I just double check.
Yes, he did. Jokiharju and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen from the Sabres are representing Finland,
along with the captain himself, Rasmus Dahlin, on the Swedish roster. So there's a lot to talk about today. So let's get into it, Kyle. Who do you want to start with? What team do you want to start
with? Let's go right into Canada. I feel like
Canada.
That'd be a fair, safe place to start. A lot to talk about. Obviously offense, defense, it's all looking good. Drew Doughty got the last minute introduction coming off of an injury, but he's got that veteran presence. Overtook Bouchard. He was also in the running candidacy of potentially taking that, which would have been also well deserved. But Drew Doughty, who's been through the Olympics and all that, I think that's a well-earned spot for Drew Doughty to squeeze in last minute.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the captaincy there. I mean, there was zero question it was going to go to Sidney Crosby, no matter what happened on this roster. But we talked a little bit about this in an earlier episode, but now that the rosters are final and this is just around the corner, I think we can agree that Canada is the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. I mean, you can't argue with this roster.
I can with their goalies.
That is the only issue I think I have with them. But let's look at the forwards first.
Forwards,
I mean, you can't. This is if a 99 overall if you're putting on.
It always is. Yeah, no, 100% it is. I saw they did some tweaks with the lineups. They separated Marchand and Crosby. Marchand will be rocking the third line. I saw that today, but we'll still have second line with McKinnon, Crosby, and who was? Let's pull that up.
I saw the first line was supposed to be McDavid. I saw McDavid, McKinnon, and Reinhart as the Canadians' top line
Yeah, I saw one like something just
projected.
released today because I know that a lot of these were projected, but they had the practice yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Reinhardt with McDavid, and God, let's pull up the actual practice lineups. Four Nations practice line Canada.
Thanks for narrating everything you're doing over there, bud.
Yeah, I mean, just got to fill everybody in.
Yeah, you
Because
gotta
yeah,
fill everybody in, but that's also, there's two of us here. You gotta remember that.
yeah,
Who I know has it for sure.
Mark
Um,
Stone is with Crosby and McKinnon.
oh, there you go.
Um, yeah, and then first line. Um,
Yeah, I mean that first. I mean, you talk about Sabres building championship rosters here. Um, if we just go back to the Team Canada roster again, obviously we've already talked about oh my God, Sam Reinhart,
Sam Reinhart.
obviously. Who else? I'm pretty sure Brendan Hagel was in the was originally a Buffalo draft pick. Sam
Yeah.
Bennett was in the system for a little bit. Who else on here?
If we want to just focus on the
I
Sabres, I
mean,
mean, let's go through. Now we got Sweden, so obviously Ristolainen, not Ristolainen, Dahlin. I think Ristolainen was thinking about going in, but so Sweden's got
where's
Allmark
the line in this finish, bud?
finish, yeah, because I know he almost made the cut. I heard that today.
I mean,
Dahlin,
I don't think he was
no,
never good enough to win to make this team. I mean,
yeah,
he's not
Finland
good
started
enough
to
to play. He's not
get
good enough
Finland
to
took
play a
the
top line.
yeah no 100%, but I know Finland took a lot of they lost a couple of guys last minute. Um, who's yeah, I can't remember who also just left. Clyde with Mark Stone.
Hmm.
Heiskanen. No,
Oh yeah, that's
was
right.
that Heiskanen? Yeah,
I believe it was. Yeah.
yeah,
Here we go. Team Canada. For the practice lineups, we had Reinhart, McDavid, and Marner sitting on the top line.
yes,
Mark Stone, Sidney Crosby, and Nate McKinnon. Seth Jarvis, Braden Point, and Brad Marchand. Brandon Hagel, Sorelli, and Sam Bennett as their fourth. I mean, that is a powerhouse forward lineup.
yeah. From top to bottom, great centers. Got a actual good fourth line. Especially Canada. One thing you gotta with all these superstars, you gotta think about the power play penalty kill. When you bring like Marchand, he's one of the best penalty killers out there. Marner's been doing a great job. Mark Stone. So that in terms of locking it down, if they were to go on the man advantage, either way it might go. Power play, obviously, they got superstar upon superstar. Hopefully they get that chemistry going, but penalty kill is just as important. So good to know that they got plenty of lockdown guys to get it up and out.
I mean, if you're looking at the lockdown guys, especially for the PK, look at their second and third D pairings. You got Theodore, Drew Doughty, and then Morsley and Parenko. I
Yeah,
mean, those
no,
are four big and Sandheim is their seventh. But those
yeah,
are five big guys, love to hit and love to get in the way of shots.
absolutely. Big guys. Then you got Cal McCarr on the offensive, piggybacking that, power play top unit. Devin Tays with him, so they'll have some chemistry um, in that regard, both being Colorado. So be interesting. A lot of Colorado guys. But yeah,
Uh,
let's talk about this goaltending. Can we just finally talk about this
yeah,
goaltending?
I mean, Aiden Hill, Jordan Binghamton, and Sam Montembeau. What
Yeah.
I mean,
Who are you starting with? That's gonna be a good
who
question.
you start? You got to go Jordan Bennington.
I,
I mean,
I that that's where my frame of reference is going is like, why do you got to start? I know it's
I
Aiden
mean,
Hill's been a
he
good
at
goalie,
least
but
he has a Stanley Cup.
yeah,
I
rookie.
mean, yeah, I know, but
You can say what you want, but Jordan Binghamton has been in and out through Canada. He's always in the IHF. When the season's over, and he does a good job. Aiden Hill has had the luxury of playing with a top defense, with Vegas and back checking forward. So it's tough to say. Yeah, I guess I got to start with Bennington, but now we can talk about the snub of Logan Thompson,
hold on,
Washington
hold on.
Capitals.
I'm not even on Logan Thompson yet. I'm on Sam Montembeau. He should be the second.
Second.
Yes, because if you look at that Montreal defense, they are not good. And Sam has been putting up some relatively okay numbers with Montreal. I mean, he came in relief, beat the Sabres earlier. Granted, it was the Sabres on going on after a 3-game win streak, and we all know how that goes. And he came in relief. We know how that goes. And the Sabres had a lead. We know how that's gone this season. But to be fair, Sam Montembeau's been putting up great numbers behind I'd say a little bit better than mediocre defense in front of him. I think he can beat out Aiden Hill for that second spot.
It's tough. I mean, all three of these on a good day, it could be a tough race, and that's all teams with the goaltending, especially USA, is gonna be a tough one. But we'll get to that in a bit. But there's no star-studded superstar like, oh my God, you're so glad to have him. And the way Logan Thompson, if we can finally talk about him, the numbers he's been putting up, Capitals have pretty much already locked in the President's Trophy with stellar goaltending from him. And it wasn't until the rosters were released that, you take that to heart. He started putting up even greater numbers. We could pull up his stats in a second, you know, but Washington's the number one team right now, tough to beat. And what everyone was thinking was going to be a down year for them, because Logan Thompson coming from Vegas, he's helped spark the team a little bit.
I'm just pulling up Logan Thompson's numbers here. I got the other guys up. Jordan Binghamton right now in 39 games this season. He's 15 has 15 wins, 3 shutouts. He's sporting a 289 goals against average with a not 897 save percentage. Aiden Hill, by comparison, actually has the better numbers with 20 wins so far. Only 2 shutouts though, but he's has a 264 goals against average with a 900 save percentage. And then finally, Sam Montembeau, 18 wins, 3 shutouts, 3 in goals against with an 897 save percentage. I arguably, I mean, I that kind of with the defense that Montreal has, I'd put Sam Montembeau ahead of Jordan Binghamton at this point and start Aiden Hill. Just looking at it like
That's
this.
kind of where I'm at. But like
Yeah.
with Canada, I've got a good feeling is going to start Jordan Binghamton just based off of his resume. We'll say.
No, for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
but it probably should be Aiden Hill, Sam Montembeau, and then Jordan Bennington in that frame of reference. Now, do you have Logan Thompson's?
I do. 24 wins, 2 shutouts, 223 goals against with a 921 save percentage.
Yeah,
I mean, that's solid.
100%.
And over his last 5 games, where am I looking here? He beat the Panthers with 3 goals on 33 shots, beat Calgary 1 goal on 33 shots, beat Edmonton with giving up 2 goals on 32 shots. And then he lost to Winnipeg and Utah.
Yeah, Winnipeg can definitely be good. Utah, win
Utah
some,
is
you
a
lose some.
really hit or miss team. You never
Well,
really
yeah,
know
a
where you're going to
lot
get.
of those bottom teams, when the Sabres
Yeah.
want to turn it up, they'll turn it up too. So,
Yeah.
you can say whatever. Obviously it sucks because once the rosters are set, unless injury and you don't want to prey on anything like that. But you know, this is all testing waters for next year's Olympics. That's all this is.
You did hear that at least the director of USA Hockey says we are not using this as an Olympic tryout. No, a hundred
But it
fucking
is.
percent you're using this as an Olympic tryout.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
It's the same thing, if we want to go back to the Elias Pettersson, JT Millers, like before they face off, their interview will be, oh, media is making it out more than it really is. Then guess what? They're gonna go after each other's heads. Who knows how it really is in that locker room, but it's all media. Some things you say on media, some things you don't. So you got to be professional in that aspect.
You got to ask O'Brien about that. He actually used the last episode here to pay for his fine for his abhorrent comments towards the media.
No, you take it wherever you can get. Was he even on the last podcast or?
He was on the last podcast.
Yeah, well, fair enough. You
That
got to
shows
pay
you
the bill
how many
somehow.
of these podcasts have you listened to?
None of them. None.
Be better than our own general manager, everyone.
Well, that's I've got a lot to live up here. When you give that resume, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that it's a lot to tackle. We got a big game tomorrow, Paul Mile, 10:30. That's where my mind's at. I don't know what you're thinking about.
I'm thinking about this Canadian power play units, which I just came across. First power play unit is going to be Crosby, McKinnon, McCarr, McDavid, Reinhardt.
Yeah, you got a
That's
couple goal
number one. I
scorers,
don't
couple
think number two will
passers.
see the ice.
Might not need to.
On
You
the other
know,
hand, the number two is Marner, Morsley, Point, Stone, and Theodore.
all great players, but you always got to think about the righties, lefties, the playmaker, shooters,
Oh,
goal scorers,
not
all
with
that.
these ones. You just got
Yeah,
to worry about
I
putting McDavid on the ice with McCarr, Crosby, Reinhardt, and McKinnon. Yeah,
yeah, they
you
can
don't have
all
to worry
score
about that. Just have them go do their thing.
100%.
You don't even need a system.
That could be said with this entire roster. Whoever's going out there. You know, it's all about putting the ego aside, though. Some of these guys are first line on their team, a lot of time on ice, but as long as they're okay being that third, fourth line guy, on such a talented roster, as long as they're focused on the team winning instead of their own personal gain, any team, whoever does that the best is gonna come out on top. These are all very talented lineups and rosters, no matter what nation we're looking at.
No, they are. Let's take a little shift over to the U.S. rosters. How about that? Sound good?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So as I'm pulling it up right here, to start off, their top line will be Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, and Matthew Tkachuk. The second line is Jake Gensel, Austin Matthews, and Jack Hughes, followed by Brady Tkachuk, T.J. Miller, and I just want to make sure I get this
TJ,
guys
JT Miller.
JT Miller. Yeah, my bad. And Matt Boldley. Let's see. We also have on their third line, we got Brock Nelson, Vinny Trocheck, and then Dylan Larkin and Chris Kreider will be rotating into that final wing position.
Alrighty.
So that's their four. Those are going to be their forwards at least. On the back end, we had Jacob Slavin and Adam Fox, Zach Lorensky and Charlie McAvoy, Noda Hannafin and Brock Faber, and then coming up in the seventh spot, we have Jake Sanderson. Will be the seventh defenseman. I mean,
Very.
overall, it's a solid lineup.
Oh yeah, and like I said too, I mean, it's tough when you put a lot of superstars together. So sometimes having an even balanced team is better, than trying to do having one player do too much. Canada, as long as they can find the chemistry, find the right lines, they can do that. But let's backtrack 1 second because I feel like we overlooked something too. We'll focus Canada, USA, and then we'll go big brother, little brother with Finland, Sweden.
Yeah, sounds good.
Um,
I like it. I like it.
yeah, 100%. So because we didn't give appreciation to the head coach. So John Cooper is the head coach of Canada, and then we
That
got
is very true. Yeah.
Mike Sullivan for USA. So let's go to that head to head because obviously that's what everyone's kind of looking at: USA versus Canada, then Sweden versus Finland, and obviously the intervals between that. It's always fun. But let's give the shout out to some head coaches that sometimes get underlooked.
They
So,
do. I agree. However, I like to point out their assistants, which I
oh
think
yeah,
is
I'm
as
looking at that
important
too.
as the
Yeah.
head coach. I mean, Mike Sullivan, he's going to be backed up with John Haynes, John Tortorella, and David Quinn. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
three solid guys, but you can't knock the Canadian assistant coaches. Behind John Cooper, got Rick Tocchet, Bruce Cassidy, and Peter DeBoer. I mean, that is a properly set up coaching staff right there.
Absolutely. Honestly, just going through just all these names, people that don't get the recognition. So like Ryan Getzlav, players relations advisor. I think we got Chris Drury as a assistant general manager on USA. Just a lot of veteran guys retired now that are filling in these gaps, helping these teams get that extra advantage. Um, Also, I don't know if whoever has seen the Gaudreau's father. He was on the ice helping out for
I
USA.
did see that. Well, did you see that USA had dinner the other day with Guy Gaudreau, Mike Madonna, Mike Eruzione, and oh my god, what's the other guy's name? And it's another guy from the AD team, defenseman. Oh, Rob McClanahan.
Okay, because
That's
that
it.
so sometimes that environment, being around the right guys and everything, that leaves a lasting impact.
Oh, it does, especially when you're around someone like Michael Ruzioni.
Oh yeah, like USA, been there, done that. Especially when
But
all odds
led
were against them.
led the team to win against the Soviets, and then never played a minute of professional hockey after that.
Yeah, yeah, but his name will always be remembered. Not
I
everybody
mean,
else, but Ruzioni's what
I'm still looking for a Ruzioni jersey. Um, we talked
David
about Sidney
Adams.
Crosby getting the C for Canada. Charlie McAvoy, or I'm sorry, no, Austin Matthews was named captain for Team USA. Charlie McAvoy and Matthew Tkachuk will wear the A's for the Americans, which I love. Austin Matthews, I believe deserves it. He's clearly the top guy on this USA roster.
Who was
Um,
almost not even a part of the
I
association.
know
I know Toronto guys didn't want him. Obviously, he was dealing with injuries. That's a different story. But
that Turkish hair transplant.
yeah, but that's good. But they didn't want fellow member of the Toronto Maple Leafs to be on USA with all that feud with the Canada, USA. Where the cup's gonna be and all that. So to see Austin Matthews actually play for USA, not only gain the C, but it is a sight to behold, and it's definitely an amazing time for sure, and well
Oh yeah,
earned.
I mean, if you're looking at the Maple Leafs, they've always been that type of organization, though. I'm
Can't
looking
blame
up.
them.
Well, I mean, if you look at a guy like Harold Ballard and Conn Smythe, so Conn Smythe owned the league. Everyone knows that's obviously where the Conn Smythe gets his name from. Is from Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
He owned the Leafs from the 1927 and 61, and then Harold Ballard came in from 71 until he died in 1990. Everyone hated Harold Ballard, by the way. There's about a 45-minute video from Urinating Tree on YouTube on the absolute pitiful display of the last 50 years of Leafs hockey, and it's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, besides the point, these two guys refused to sign Europeans. They refused to sign Americans. They wanted the Leafs to be a purely Canadian team. Then they eventually signed Borje Salming, and that kind of opened the door for European hockey in Toronto.
I mean, wasn't Montreal almost the same way with like French
Oh, you know,
Canadians?
that's Montreal, and I'll look at them. I don't. I think Sam Montembeau's the only. I can't be. I could be wrong. I know Sam Montembeau's from Quebec, but that's beside. Yes, Montreal was the same way, but Toronto, at least Montreal started to evolve a lot quicker. And let's
Okay.
be honest, Montreal could pull it off with the guys they had. And in the day, I mean, you win 27 Stanley Cups, you're doing something right, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but I mean, look who they had. Guy Lafleur, both Richards. Um, oh my God, why can't I think of their goalie right now? Oh my God, how am I forgetting? Dude, you need to
When's the
help.
last time Toronto has had like a true number one goaltender? That's another one. It's like
Oh, let me figure this out first because
because
it really pains me as a hockey fan. I can't remember this name right
yeah, because that's one argument that Toronto's like they're almost always there. They're always in the
now. Ken
playoffs.
Dryden. Sorry, I can't believe
Yeah.
I almost forgot Ken Dryden. Also played for Montreal, Buffalo Sabres legend Yaroslav Halak. Besides the point though. I'm sorry. Continue where you were going. That's my bad.
I think that's well enough. We got the head coaches. I know you wanted through the USA lineup. I think did we touch on the defense?
Not really. And then we got to get to the goalies because we haven't even
Yeah, because
touched
the
the
goalies are the big
American
talking
goalies yet.
point. Yeah.
Um. Anyway, Slavin and Fox as their top. I don't think I don't really like that as a top line. I like Rowensky, Rowensky and McAvoy as a top line over Slavin and Fox.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough one, but
I know, like all these pairings that you can and can't do. I mean, it is tough. I mean, Am Fox is probably the number one defenseman. I think McAvoy's a probably a close second, but I mean, Am Fox has that more offensive nature talent,
mhm.
but that doesn't win games most of the time on defense.
I
So always
mean,
nice to have.
let's assume that these defensive lines will pair perfectly with the forward lines in their same slots. Would you rather have Slavin and Fox out there with Connor, Eichel, and Kachuk, or Gensel, Matthews, and Hughes? Because if that's the case, I would actually flip flop them again, put Runsky and McAvoy with that top line, and have Slavin and Fox play the second line with Gensel, Matthews, and Hughes.
I mean, we both know it's not going to stay
No, it won't.
persistent,
It won't. But
obviously.
that's where I think it should change, though.
Yeah, because the first line seemed a little bit more defensive minded. Eichel, coming from the Sabres, he's definitely worked on his two-way game.
Oh, that's horseshit, but okay.
I mean, if you haven't seen, I mean, hey, Stanley Cup, you know,
It wasn't because of his defensive play, though.
No, but he's been working on it, and you got to give him credit. Sabres did him dirty at the end of the day.
Oh, they did. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and go back to the Sabres. Like, I mean, just look at the turmoil. Like, we look great on the roster, but I mean, you see, their superstar isn't getting the help that he needs. What's a grunt like a third line, fourth line player going to get? That bleeds into the atmosphere of the room, and we always wonder why the Sabres always suck. Well, there's a lot more than just coaching and players. It's all head to toe, from president, GM. It's tough to say.
Oh, I
but,
know. I know exactly what you mean. And if you're gonna sign third and fourth line guys, you don't. I know you don't have to pay them a ton of money, but you got to get quality guys. Like the guys they picked this year, I absolutely love. Jason Zucker, Beck Malenstein. Oh my god.
Abby Cabell.
No, fuck him. He's the only one I don't like.
McLeod we picked.
McLeod, that's it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
always forget McLeod. Whenever we do this, I always fucking forget.
Yeah,
McLeod.
he's been one of the best players.
I know.
Obviously,
That's why I keep forgetting.
we gave up a good prospect in Savoy. We'll see how that pans out in a couple of years. Right now you win the trade, but no.
Yeah,
Seems
but
like
where was I going with this? Oh, this is where I was going. You got to get quality guys, right? I was going back through my Twitter trying to like clean up tweets and stuff, and I found one as I was scrolling through from a while ago, right around the same that I was right when Queen Elizabeth died. Okay, and that was when the Sabres were just like throwing $750,000 at everything, anything that had a heartbeat and skates.
oh
Like
yeah.
like when we could have made the roster easily. Um, it was a great tweet. I actually sent it to my buddy. It goes, um, let me just, I'll pull it up so I can read it verbatim. But no, I started dying when I saw it. It was Queen Elizabeth sat through Hitler, threat of nuclear war, but watching the Sabres pay someone over $750,000, she is where she drew the line. She's like, I'm out. Yeah, I can't. The Sabres can't afford to pay anyone over 750. See you.
I mean, it's to the point where signing people, Bishop, Boychuk, just to hit the cap floor. We had no interest in going to the cap ceiling ever. It was crazy.
Mind you, as pointed out by my buddy who replied to this tweet, the timestamp was 3:12 in the morning when I sent that tweet.
Wonder what you were doing.
What I was doing, I was getting home from work, is what I was doing.
Yeah.
No, but getting back to this U.S. roster, let's take a look at the goaltenders.
Now this is the interesting one. By far, I think we can all agree.
I really like the U.S. goaltenders.
You got three good goalies, but they're also three great teams that they're a part of.
I know you got Connor Hellebuck, which I think should be the outright starter. We'll discuss that in a second. Jake Ottinger and Jeremy Swayman.
I mean, best trio. I mean, honestly, any other team would love to have just one of them as their starter. Like, these are all starting goaltenders. Put them on any other of the Four Nations teams, it'd probably be a starter over there. To be, Andre for sure, Swayman with the season, Boston's Rocky season might be a little, iffy. But the big talking point, Hellebuck, absolutely the starter. Phenomenal stats, phenomenal career. He's just always doing it, but he does not do great in the big moments. Whether it's internationally, playoffs, he comes up short. And that's been a big talking point for sure. So that's where a little skepticism is, but that's what's great about having the great tandem that we have with all three of them. If Hellebuck goes down or loses the first game, I should say, who's your second guy, Peter?
Who my second guy is? I'm going Jake Ottinger at this point.
Yeah,
I
because
just I don't trust what Swayman after what I've seen this season. Granted, his defensive core. Well, actually, no, that's not true. They didn't get downgraded as much as I probably was about to argue, but
yeah,
um, I mean, he kind of signed that contract and fell off the cliff. What can I
because
say? I
actually
mean,
what I'm just looking at real quick. So there's 3 games before championship. So but I mean, you lose one game. There's only 6 games, and then it's right into the championship. I
yeah,
don't even
they're
know if
just
there's any
doing the point
semifinals.
system. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's what top 2 teams go to the championship, I would
yeah,
assume.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you lose one, you can't really mess around. Um, so you got to get it right, dude. Try, or let's say you start Hellbuck for sure. You lose that game. Do you switch it up or do you trust in Hellbuck?
Uh, I mean, I I'd say just trust in Hollywood.
So so
I
so
mean,
so
you gotta assume that everyone's gonna lose a game.
yeah,
I don't.
and
There's not. They're not. I don't think any team is gonna go undefeated in the start in this tournament.
yeah,
Okay?
because
You
I mean,
you
playing
just
what?
gotta
Yeah,
trust that.
yeah, and for USA's first game Thursday, February 13th, it will be against Finland, which still a great lineup, but you could almost argue the weakest
I
of.
No. I argued this earlier, and I 100% believe they are the weakest of the four.
Yeah,
We'll discuss that next.
yeah,
Um,
we're moving along. We'll get to the Sweden, Finland, but
yeah.
but to start off, it's one thing USA versus Canada, where, but with Finland, if Hellbuck loses against Finland, I think you got to switch it up, maybe to Anger, if
Yeah,
not
I mean,
Sweden.
I can see the argument, especially if they lose the first one to Finland. However, I would just say because say you need Hellebuck for Canada no matter what, right? Do you want to say he has a rough game against Finland? Do you want him to have the bounce back game be against Canada, get his feet back under him against Sweden, and then go to Canada?
No, actually, Canada's our second game.
Oh, there's a
Sweden will
second
be
game.
our
Oh,
third.
well.
Yeah, so
So here's the other question: Do you switch it up with Hellebuck after say he gets run in Finland? You switch it up and go Ottinger for Canada. That's the better question.
because so it's Thursday then Saturday, so they'll have a 2 day, Friday off.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Are they both in?
are they
Are they both
planning on
in
rotating the
Boston?
goalies? What was
I
that?
don't. I don't think he. I don't think they'll rotate.
First
I
game's
think.
in Montreal, second game's in Boston, so there
Okay,
will be a
so
little
there's
bit
a
of
travel
travel.
day in there. Okay, that's so there's a travel day. That's
Yeah, it looks like so the first 3 games are in Montreal.
and then
Uh,
everything. I know the championships in Boston.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. First 4 games are in Montreal, then the last 3, including the championship, so 3, are in Boston. But
Mhm.
actually, I lied. I lied. Thursday, Saturday, it's Montreal, Montreal. I was looking at the Sweden one. We go to Boston, so you're still in Montreal for the first, from Finland and Canada, and that too. It's not a travel day.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah,
mistake on
I
my
actually
part.
yeah, I see it. I see it now. I just got pulled up the schedule here. Anyway, yeah, I don't see. I think it's going to be like the Olympics. You roll one guy, see how they do, and
Yeah,
you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. The other guys are just there in case of an injury.
yeah.
That's what I
Injury,
see.
underperformance, but it's like if you want Hellbuck to be well rested for Canada, do you maybe even just start Anger against Finland, or we just rolling through the number one?
I would just roll through the number one.
Yeah,
There's not
because
enough games for to make that argument.
yeah, because I obviously come next year for the Olympics, they're gonna ride their number one. But it's like, okay, this is
Yeah,
also for
but
some
at least
people, this is their break for some people. Like, does Hellbuck want to be playing? Do any of these goalies want to be playing every single game? And that's where you talk to the players. It's gonna be tough from a coaching standpoint because all these players are focused on, especially for USA, they're all playoff contending teams. So it's like don't want to overplay and overtire themselves out, risk injury for maybe what they might see as a more meaningful regular season, postseason after that, where the Four Nations is just a glorified All-Star break. Olympics is a different story come next year. That's gold medal, that's international viewership and all that. But it wouldn't surprise me if we start Andre and then go Hellbuck Canada.
yeah, no, I can see that 100%.
Absolutely.
Let's switch it over this week because I'm on a little bit of a time crunch here. I am going out and taking a little peek at our partners, Allen FC. They have a game tonight, so I'm going to go take out and take a look, see how they do. And to keep posted on our Instagram at Rubber Duckies Hockey for some updates from that game. So
Gotta love
we
it.
gotta get rolling on this. Yeah.
Yeah, let's jump right into Big Brother. Let's go right to Sweden.
So Sweden general manager for the Swedes will be on Anders Lindberg in the head, and then Sam Hollum will be their head coach. Danny Alfredson coming in big, serving as an assistant this year for them. And big news here, just a couple weeks ago, as most of you probably already know, Jacob Markstrom has withdrawn from the tournament. Samuel Harrison will replace him, and then William Carlson also withdrew, being replaced by Ricard Raquel. So those are
Markstrom
your big.
Was he the goalie that Sabres took out knee injury?
I believe so.
Svensson, I think it was. I didn't
Yeah,
know which one it
yeah.
was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
always unfortunate.
no, it is. And on it, Markstrom would have been was my pick to start too, which that's real sad for him. Um,
Yeah.
your captains for the Swedes, Victor Hedman will wear the C. Matthias Ekholm, Eric Carlson, and William Nylander will wear the A's.
All
Um,
well deserved for sure.
all very very well deserved. Let me just well, no, I don't need to double check that. I know for a fact Buffalo Sabres legend Alex Nylander did not make this roster. Um, the top line will be William Nylander, Mika Zibanejad, and Ricard Raquel, followed by Adrian Kempe, Elias Pettersson, and Philip Forsberg. Jasper Bratt, Joel Eriksson, Ek, and on their wing will be Lucas Raymond on the third line. I want to believe, yes, Gustav Nyquist, Elias Lindholm, and I'm just making sure I get all these names right. That's why I'm pausing a little bit in between here. And Victor Arvidsson will be the fourth line, following up with Leo Carlson as the extra skater for the forwards. What do you think about that forward lineup?
Always a good, well-rounded, put-together team. I'm always more. Sweden's defense has always been what's looked great to me. So they've always
It's
had
big,
some great
yeah,
offensive talent. I know we're moving into it next, but in terms
I
of
know.
offense, they got a lot of well put together. We'll say a lot of second line players. Obviously, Elias Patterson, superstar.
Mm.
Forsberg, a little bit rough around the edges sometimes of late, but still a great goal scorer. But from top to bottom, oh yeah, William Nylander too. So that first line's set, but then you got a lot of the same players almost, filling out the rest of the roster.
Yeah, but I mean, I like it. Again, I think
I
their
like
bottom
it.
half is going to be a hard hitting line, which I think they're going to need. And the Swedes have always been very fast. They've always been a fast paced team,
I mean,
which
just looking at their
they're going to need.
heights, we
Yeah.
got a lot of people in the fives. Obviously their defense. What
Mhm.
I'm looking at actually is looking a lot taller than the other two that we've discussed with USA and Canada. But that's one thing we didn't talk about with the USA because I thought we were missing one. Because was Austin Matthews always the captain, or because
I think.
Quinn Hughes
Oh
he's
yeah,
injured
that's right.
because that's a
Uh,
big loss for Team USA. That's something we
yeah,
overlooked.
but if we're arguing the captaincy, I think Austin Matthews always had it.
Yeah, did he? Because I couldn't remember because I know they always
No, I
post
know
it. You're
because he
kind of
wasn't going to
skimming.
play. He wasn't supposed to play for the longest time. So
Yeah,
there might have been, but I think as long as he was in the lineup, he was going to get it.
yeah,
But
but
yeah, Quinn Hughes get withdrawing with a lower body injury, and that's where Jake Sanderson slots in.
yeah, because I do remember because going head to head with USA versus Canada, we'll group those two rivalries together, and then Finland, Sweden. But Cal McCarr, Quinn Hughes, you got some great offensive talent. Quinn Hughes, phenomenal year as always, keeps on improving. But another Hughes combo with the Kachuk brothers, a lot of
I know.
brotherly love on USA. To see that diminished hurts a little bit, especially as fellow USA, fans and born and bred and raised. Definitely hurts to see, but I think still with the lineup USA has, we'll be looking good going forward. But I
Mhm.
figured we just had a backtrack because
No,
we
no,
forgot
you had
that
that.
bit of
That's a good point
yeah.
for sure. Well, back to Sweden. Let's take a look at the defenseman. Victor Hedman will head off the top line with Jonas Broden. In with the second line here. Let me just make sure I'm getting the right guy. Oh my god, why can't I find? You know what really helped in this with me doing this is the ability to read.
Try
That's
some
usually
glasses, bud.
yeah. Well, I do have. I don't need them to read though. That's the thing. Oh my god, why am I such an idiot? Matthias Ekholm. I forgot his first name for a second. And then he'll be with Eric Carlson, Rasmus Dahlin, and Rasmus Anderson will be the third line. Um, and then finally on the back end with the seventh guy. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, my bad. Philip Forsling is a forward. He was out sick during the practice yesterday. So.
Yeah, where's Gustav Forsling on defense? Is he like, gonna be an extra, or are you seeing
Mm,
the full lineups?
yeah, I do. Yes, I believe he's going to be the extra.
Okay, because Gustav Forsling, he's been lockdown defenseman for Florida, so I'm actually kind of surprised seeing him down
Yeah.
there.
Well, I
Um,
mean, you also have
it,
Darlene playing third line.
exactly. I really wanted to see Dahlin Carlson together. I grew up idolizing Eric Carlson. See
Oh,
the
for
righty
sure. Yeah.
lefty, that would have been a great little duo. But
I like him with Matthias Ekholm though. I think that's going to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
great pair.
No, but,
Carlson and Ekholm. Yeah.
Ekholm's a great defenseman. He's a little bit more locked down, especially when you got such an offensive minded defenseman in Eric Carlson. You need that lockdown defenseman just for that complimentary status.
I'm going to say the one guy I really don't know much about would be Jonas Broden. Um, from the Minnesota Wild, he was drafted 10th overall in 2011. So he's been around. He's been around for quite a bit. 6'1", 194-pound defenseman, left-handed shot. Let's try to find some stats here. Uh, 803 games, 54 goals, 186 assists for 240 points. So he's the big guy. He's the power guy.
Absolutely.
Which is going to pair very well with Hedman being the flashy defenseman that he is. And to be fair, I think that's kind of what the Swedes have done here. They instead of putting Carlson, because we just argued about Carlson and Dahlin should be on a line together, but I like what the Swedes have done here, and they've paired a talented D with a big guy because we all know
You got
Matthias
that.
Ekholm is the big guy. He'll throw the body around like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's good chemistry. A defensive defenseman, lockdown defenseman with an offensive defenseman, offensive minded. So it's a very complementary status. Obviously, they can both play defense, they can both play offense, but they all have specialties. So to get that little chemistry mix, a little bit of both, you always have a fallback option. Goes a long way.
Yeah, and just looking at Rasmus Anderson to confirm my theory here. Draft 53rd overall in 2015. He's 6'1", 214 pounds. If you want to see a guy to try to pick up to play with Darlene in Buffalo, this is the guy you look for.
Yeah.
He's with the Calgary Flames right now. 455 NHL games, 36 goals, 164 assists for 200 points.
Yeah. Well, he's lost some weight because I'm on the Four Nations,
Mm-hmm.
website. So he's 202 now. So I know
Oh, he's
you're probably in the
202. He dropped
NHL.
some weight. Yeah.
Yeah, getting fit.
Still,
That's what playing half of a season. You lose a lot of weight once you get
yeah, yeah, for sure.
you bulk in the off season, and then that constant cardio, constantly playing, skating. It'll lead you to tack off a few pounds. I mean, we would assume that for the Four Nations face-off, these stats are a little bit more current, but who's to say?
Mm,
It could be a fill in the bubble.
yeah, for
Their
sure.
heights could be a little exaggerated as well. We've all done that, playing high school and all that.
Now comes the fun part. You get to pick the Swedish starter in net.
Linus Allmark.
I mean, it has to be Linus Ullmark.
It has to be,
I
and
haven't heard of these other two idiots. So,
I mean,
um,
Gustafsson's been a great tandem with Fleury in
no,
Minnesota.
yeah,
But Minnesota's always on like the low end. Gustafsson hasn't won that first, that starting
I know
goalie position,
yeah,
which
I
is
know what
tough
you
with
mean.
Fleury. But especially with some veteran presence, for a guy that's teetering 40 years old, if he's not already, um, you know, it is tough. It's almost a little bit easier, but to overtake somebody in that, it's Fleury, it's the Flowers. Gonna be a
I
legend.
know you can't.
Immediate inductee into the Hall of Fame, first round ballot for sure.
Yeah, but it's going to be. Imagine when Gustafsson gets the nod next year, because most likely he'll get the starting job in Minnesota next year. Um,
because
I
Fleury's
think it's
retired.
no, yeah. This
He
is
will be.
Fleury's last year. He already said he's
Yeah.
retiring. I mean, he wait for Gustafsson to explode in the next year or two. That's when he's really going to come out of his shell as a goaltender.
He's still a
As
pretty
for
young
the
goalie.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like I said, like you said, I should say, he's behind Fleury, and who better to learn from at this point?
Oh, 100%. And goalies are tough. Like when he really started seeing a goalie like prosper and flourish, he's like 25 years old, and that's kind of right about where he's at too. It takes a little bit of time to adjust to that different speed of that the NHL is. So you don't see goalies just jump right in like Fleury did when he was 18 and make an impact, being drafted first overall.
Yeah,
But it's different these days, a lot faster. But they eventually find it. Linus Allmark, great example. Kind of wasted some years, but he definitely saw a lot of shots in Buffalo. I could argue that
yeah, for
that
sure.
helped him. So
Yeah,
he's definitely used to it. But Linus Allmark for sure, first overall. He should be the starting goaltender. Gustafsson's a nice backup tandem. As far as Samuel Urson, Philadelphia Rocky season, but they do like to come back. They got some good prospects coming up, so we'll see how that goes in the future. Even younger than Gustafsson, but definitely a well deserved goalie. We'll see how that pans out. But who did Urson replace? Markstrom,
uh,
yeah.
Markstrom, yeah,
Because
yeah.
Markstrom would have been the first, yeah, for sure. Could have made that argument a little bit better with Allmark, but especially Allmark when he say last year we put that into Boston.
Mhm.
I think Allmark would have been first pick no matter what. But all these these are three wild card teams. You don't have those flashy numbers, but it doesn't put anything against these goalies and their prospective talent. Same thing with the Sabres, where we were talking about how I want to see Tage Thompson on the USA. Um, we always see all these guys go leave the Sabres, win Stanley Cup champions. That sucks as a Sabres fan, but to see these guys on like an international standpoint, see Thompson rep USA, especially as a USA fan and Sabres fan, it's like you can see how much these guys are really capable of. See Linus Allmark on another better team with Sweden, see Tage Thompson with a well put together team and good coaching staff. I guess we can say a better environment. Would have been interesting to see, especially since once that roster was finalized, Tage Thompson definitely stepped it up. As among other people around the league, there's definitely been some decent snubs, but as a fellow Sabres fan, I just want to see, he could have been the best guy for all we know, but he just riddled onto the Buffalo Sabres, I should say, and who knows?
Well, here's a big question. As a Sabres fan, um, would you get a Darlene or UP jersey? No one wants a Yoki Haru jersey, but would you get a Darlene or UP jersey?
I like Sweden. I like Sweden. As far because yeah, I mean, obviously Darlene maybe I don't know. Tage Thompson 100%. USA, I
Oh
want
yeah,
that USA
that's why
jersey.
I'm asking you these ones because I know you'd get that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like Alex Tuck, if he managed to squeeze in there for
Yeah,
whatever it might have been, and same thing with Tage Thompson because injuries. Like who knows if Tage Thompson right now being inactive for the Sabres, I mean he was day to day, but who knows if he was even able to participate in this event. To go on to say, he's well deserved. I mean who knows if he could, and with his up and down seasons,
for
you can
sure, for
understand
sure.
why they would take a Chris Kreider, a more veteran
No,
presence than
100%.
I don't disagree with any of that, but would have been nice to see younger star talent like that.
Quickly because I'm running like really, really short on time here.
We'll go to little
Let's get
brother.
yeah, let's go little brother to Finland. Jari Lekkinen be the GM this year. With his assistants Mikko Koivu and Jarmo Kikalainen. Uh, our Antti Paninen is the head coach with Tomo Rutu as an assistant. And their team captain will be Alexander Barkov with Sebastian Aho, Mikael Granlund, and Mikko Rantanen wearing A's for the tournament. Couple big updates to start the tournament. Miro Heiskanen was ruled out of the tournament due to an injury. And also defenseman Jane Hakapa was also ruled out. They were replaced by Jarhu Vaskalainen and Henry Jokiharju. And Rasmus Ristolainen ruled out due to injury, replaced by Nicholas Monopolo.
Okay, so we were talking about that because
Which can someone give
Ristolainen
me
was in.
credit for? Can we please just give me credit for those Finnish names real quick? Because that was pretty fucking good for my
You were okay.
record.
I mean,
I mean, for my record, that's pretty good.
you almost stumbled on Henry Jokiharju, you know, as a
No, that was the
Sabres
one I
fan, you
got.
know.
That was the one I got 100%.
You
I
almost had a little
stumbled
double
on
take. You had a little
Juharo
double take.
Vakita. I don't give a fuck for them.
Vakanainen, whatever. Is that we're
I don't
looking
give
at
a fuck.
Urho?
Yeah. Anyway, but still, yeah. Ristolainen wasn't. I don't think he should have been in the first place. He's not that good. But
with the injuries that he started, like, because then he started, because Finland's had the roughest, you know, people
oh, I
leaving,
know.
especially the defensive side, where to bring in, like, don't get me wrong, Henry Jokiharju, you know, he's a good guy, a good player, but you know, he's young, he's got that. Who knows how he would be on another team, another good team? Who knows? He could be, you know, he could. I'm not gonna say a lead, but he could be a lockdown defenseman, putting up some points on no well-established team. We've seen it with JJ Paterka on Germany in the IIHF last year. Owen Power was a first-line defenseman on the IIHF. Obviously, it's not the same roster as these are, but see these fellow Sabres who weren't having the bestest of seasons, but even like Dylan Cousins was like the top goal scorer in that league. So that's why I want to see more Sabres in these international, you know, teams, different environment, different players, and you know they round it out
for sure. Let's take a look at their forward lines. Starting up on the top line, we got Arturi Lekkinen, Alexander Barkov, and Mikko Rantanen on the first line.
solid.
Rope Hins, Sebastian Aho, and Patrick Laine will be the second line. I want to make sure I get this right before I introduce here because I don't want to give anyone
these, I mean, until the games are actually played, these are all
no, I
projected
know, but I know
lineups.
there's a joke to be made here, which I can't make because it's a different guy. Arutu Rustarlainen will
Let's
be
try
on
and
the whatever it is. I don't care. Will be on the left wing for the third line. Next to Isa Lindell and Michael Granlund. Tivo Teravainen, Kevin Haula, and Joel Armia will be the fourth line with Capo Caco as the extra skater.
yeah, I probably should have, you know, ran these words out. All these players, you know, rope hints, whatever he said. It's Rupe hints.
I'm doing my best Don Cherry, okay?
The rope.
Don Cherry, who refuses.
You're fantasizing.
No, Don
here.
Cherry, who refuses to do any foreign name, even the French Canadians, refuses to say them correctly. Okay, so this is my best Don Cherry impression. Let's go to the defense, and I will mute you so you can't even say anything. Yeah, that's right. I just did that. On defense, we got Nico Mikola, and with his defensive pairing, pair will be oh my god, I fucked up the Lindell and Lundell. The
Well, I can
third
unmute
line
myself,
center.
asshole.
Yeah, I know. The third line center is Anton Lundell. Issa Lindell will be the top defensive pairing. According to Elliot Friedman, he couldn't figure out the defensive pairings either. Henry Jokiharju will also be in there somewhere, obviously. A couple other guys. You got Oli Mata, Nicholas Montepalo, Aruhu Veskana, and then Yusov Valimaki.
Solid.
You like that? I just gave. I'm giving up at this point. Well, one guy, you know, let's just talk about the three guys I know. The three guys whose names I 100% know how to say is the goaltenders. We got, yeah, UC Saros, our boy, Kapeka Lukinen, and then
Kevin Lankinen.
Kevin Lankinen. I love it how they got like UC Saros, big Finnish guy. Pekka Lukinen, the most Finnish name in the league, and then Kevin.
Kevin.
I
We'll
want
just
to
refer to him as Kevin.
just Kevin. I think they should start Kevin just for that reason. Is be like, and on the back end, Henry Yokiharu, Holy Mata, and starting in goal, Evan. Throw everyone for a fucking spin.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
but okay. Who's your starting goaltender? We'll start with that.
UC Saros, easy.
Yeah, UC Saros. Who's your number two?
Oh, it's UP at that point. I
UP.
like Kevin. I like Kevin, but with the defense that he has in front of him, I think UP can thrive on this team.
And I would assume Lincoln is the first. He's the starting goalie in Vancouver. I know, because that's why I'm
now I
almost
gotta
thinking.
look. I'm not exactly sure.
Because I know.
Let's take a look here. Vancouver Canucks.
Thatcher Demko. So he's the backup to
Oh,
Demko.
how
Because
did we forget
Demko's
about Thatcher Demko?
because
Anyway,
he's been injured, so
that's
it's been
right.
tough. I think he's been playing recently, but Demko is obviously one of the best goaltenders when healthy. But
for sure.
I mean, again, Vancouver is one of those teams where it's a good team. Whoever you put in that, you're usually going to be having a good time. But then Luukkonen, who has been having a pretty outstanding season, all things considered. Granted, all the losses is, as Buffalo fans speaking, I know we're probably kissing ass a little bit, but it's not on Luukkonen for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, it's not. For sure.
Yeah, and he one thing that he's been doing, compared to previous seasons, is he's been a lot more consistent. So
ever since last January, if you watch him play prior to last year, about this time last year, you'll see him.
He finished
kind
strong
of he's
last
kind of
year.
wild. No, yeah, this is the kind of point I'm going with. He was kind of wild in that he had a lot of big movements. He was overcorrecting. If you watch him after the holiday break last year, he got more concise. He was quieter. Quick short movements to line up for shots, and that's the way he's been playing. And you saw last year how his game
Yeah.
changed
You
after
just have
that
to be a
holiday
consistent,
break.
simple goal. You
Yeah.
don't have to make those flashy saves. You just have to get into position.
Now,
So
has he still made those? Of course, every goalie has those big couple ones, but you got to be quick. You got to stay in position.
yeah,
Just
100%.
be quick and quiet with it.
Yeah,
That's all I like to say.
and same thing. Who knows who they might start with? Because I know Nashville's also been having. I don't know if they rebounded, but they were almost
Yeah, they
doing
did
worse than
rebound with a
us.
6-4 win against the Sabres.
Yeah, well, that's Sabres.
Yeah, no, but they haven't been rebound. They're still bottom of the West. But
Yeah,
you got to go with UC Saros, just number one based on name recognition, and he has the international experience over UP. Yeah, UP has World Junior experience, but it's nothing like playing against the big boys, even in the World Championships.
to be fair, I mean, when we did the first couple of games against New Jersey, and Prague, where close enough. We're looking at was on spectacle there, and we disappointed. Granted, it's first game, overseas, got a little rust and chemistry to build. A lot of teams don't start off hot and stay hot. You got to figure things out. But yeah, under the bigger light, UC Saros is definitely the safer option.
Yeah. So the big question here is because honestly, there's not a lot to talk about with Finland. Where do you think Where do you think Finland's going to rank?
They're always good, and especially too like the World Juniors. Like Finland's been the World Juniors isn't as dominant as it was, like where it's always USA Canada, or it could really go either way. Granted, these are all veteran established players, so we'll see. These are all four great lineups. I want it's not a definite Finland's gonna be coming last. They got a lot of heat too with all the big brother, little brother comments. So I'm curious to see how that Finland Sweden goes. I would love to see when USA faces Sweden for Elias Patterson, JT Miller. I want to see, because it's always been, talked about behind closed doors with JT Miller and Elias Patterson. And that's another thing too, is there's no asterisk next to Elias Patterson, Vancouver. I mean, are we getting the good one, or are we?
No, there's no
chance. You think there'd be a little asterisk or
yeah.
something, right? I mean,
no, there won't be. They're not going to move anyone during the tournament.
That would be an hilarious turn of events, just for like
I
social
want to
media
say
aspects.
someone got traded during the Olympics at one point.
No,
I don't want to look for it, but
well, what Sweden should do for like warm-ups of the first games, they should send out the other Elias Pettersson in warm-ups. We're in the number 40.
the 40. Yeah.
That would
That'd
be
good.
legendary, just for warm-ups. Just get him out there where like you know camera pans Elias Pettersson, but it's not the buzz cut Elias Pettersson superstar that you're used to. That'd be great. That'd be that's just wishful thinking now.
All right. So before we head out here, one last thing I want you to do. Who's winning the tournament?
I was about to say that's what it's going to come down to. Real quick. So is it 3 points for a win?
3 for a win, 2 for an OT win.
Can you time this?
No, because there's overtime in a shootout.
Okay, so
let me look here. I saw it somewhere on here. Jesus, where was it? All right, here. Here we go. 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime shootout win, 1 point for an overtime or shootout loss, and then 0 for a regulation loss.
Okay, because I mean, it's just like any little tournament,
Yeah, pretty much. It's legitimately the same thing we do.
Yeah. Holiday leisure, but like, I mean, growing up, you go to a tournament, like losing is a big deal. Like you can't.
Yeah,
lose.
I know. You got to lose properly.
Yeah, you got to lose properly. You got to put up points. So if you do lose, hopefully you put up a good number of goals.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is tough because you don't have a lot of time to get these practices down. Canada, USA is gonna be the two most prominent answers, but it sucks to say because you can't count Sweden and Finland out.
I know, but I mean, I need you to pick one.
USA. I'm definitely biased, but with the goalies, it sucks that Quinn Hughes is out. But because the defense that was supposed to be with Quinn Hughes and the goaltending back, then you got guys that can score. You don't need top to bottom roster. Sometimes that hurts more than most. You just need a good, put together, well-grounded, well-grouped people. As we were saying earlier in the podcast, that they're in the right environment, bringing out Ruzioni, all those USA legends, just to get them going. So I think they'll have a little extra chip on their shoulder. Same thing with Finland. Can't count them out because they're the underdogs right now. So I don't see them coming in last. Okay.
Ooh, that's a big prediction. I like that. But so yeah, that's gonna about do it for us here. First off, thank you, Kyle, for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to have you on. I'd love to have you on after the tournament to get your reaction. How about that?
Yeah, I think we can do that. Maybe even do a part 1, part 2 halfway through, or like right before the championship. We'll hop on and we'll
might as well, right?
We'll make it into one package though. I'm thinking like right before the preview and the after take all in one. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll talk it over.
If that, we can make a 3. We'll figure it out. Anyway. But yeah, thank you for joining us.
A great doubleheader tomorrow because we got the Four Nations kicking off officially tomorrow, as well as the Rubber Duckies game at 10:30. Holiday Rings. Right. You can view it on Live Barn, so feel free to subscribe and watch our game.
Yeah, Holiday Twin Rings tomorrow, 10:30. Rubber Duckies taking on Palm Isle. Revenge game for Palm Isle, losing in overtime by your hand the last time. Make sure also to follow Allen FC on Instagram as they play tonight at 9:15. That's where I'm heading out to right after I finish up here. So make sure to check them out. Make sure to check us out also at Rubber Duckies Hockey on Instagram, where you'll find all our updates from the Duck Pond to Rubber Duckies Hockey to hockey news in general and our Four Nations reaction. Maybe we'll even have Kyle film a couple of reactions after a few games. We'll get them out on the Instagram and the Twitter for you. Speaking of the Twitter, we also have at Rubber Duckies HQ on Twitter, so make sure you check us out there. And then finally, if Seamus, may God rest his soul, because he isn't here again tonight. He's not dead. He's probably asleep, to be completely honest with you.
He might.
If he ever decides to figure out how to use that TikTok again, rubber.hockey.ducky on TikTok. Kyle, any final thoughts?
No, I just can't wait for what this week has in store for us. It's going to be one hell of a week for sure.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure to tune in, and we'll see you guys next time on the Duck Pond. Thanks for listening. See you guys next time.
Thank you.